Big, obviously a big week. I thought our guys really played well on the Arizona trip. I thought we played really well down in Tucson and put together another really good 40 minutes at Arizona State. So hopefully we can build on that momentum as we head down the stretch here. Obviously a very key 3 weeks, and it starts Thursday against Utah, and it's odd, you know, you get to this time of the season and your next 4 opponents are against people you haven't seen yet, and that's kind of an odd deal, and it's going to be the same obviously for all of us, but hopefully it'll even keep our guys more mentally fresh, because you get to this time of the year, you know each other so well and you're used to playing against each other. Now you're going to get 4 teams in a row that it's new, so hopefully that's going to be a lot of fun for the guys.
Is there a big man you guys have faced this year that compares at all to Pirtle?
I think the closest as far as just being a real dominant low post threat would be Sabonis at Gonzaga. You know, and their big fella obviously didn't play; he was hurt. But that's probably as close. Now Sabonis will go out and you know, shoot the ball to 15, 17 feet every now and then, but Pirtle's probably more dominant just in the post because of his size at over 7 foot, and I think he's gotten quicker with his moves. Does a good job of making foul shots, but at least in the Pac-12 and especially offensively, I don't think we've seen anybody this good.
Was there anything that Jonah did differently this weekend to make such a big impact?
Well, he just made an impact. He engaged at both ends. I think he only had, statistically, they had him for 2 blocks. I thought he had more than that. If he didn't have more than that, he changed another 4 or 5 shots. And very, very active. And I think we got guys playing their roles now in the positions that he liked. When we were big, we were messing around with Jonah at the 4 spot and the 3 spot. I think that was hard on him. And he's getting adjusted to it. He's very similar to what we saw last year. Isaac maybe a little bit earlier than what Jonah is, hitting his stride. But when you've had to sit out a year, almost a year and a half, that makes a difference. And I think you're seeing Jonah hit his stride now. He's comfortable with his role. He's in the starting lineup, so I think he sees an awful lot of trust in him, not just from coaches but his teammates. And he's making a difference. Obviously, great production offensively for us, and that takes us to another level offensively. But where he's making his presence, I think, for us is defensively. We're able to match up with other stretch 4s a lot easier with him and Gigi than we were big. And it's good to see, you know, and he's riding good momentum. You know, he's out here now. I mean, he's got a good feel to himself right now, so hopefully he can continue that.
This is the first time in a while that you've been able to get some scoring off the bench now with Tony. Does it change the dynamic at all that it's coming from off the bench?
Well, I think what helps us is that we start the game with Tom, and Tom and Tony are different. You know, and that's how we got away with it really for a little bit, especially in the non-conference, playing big because they were different. Tony pretty much low block. Tom, where you really pick and pop with him to 12 to 15 feet because he can really shoot that 12 to 15 foot shot. So you kind of, though we were playing with 2 centers, they were a little bit different. The hard part was defensively, and that's where we really struggled when we got into league play, being big. It was just almost impossible for us to defend. So now we're messing around with 1 or 2 different zones and trying 18 different pick and roll coverages, just trying to help the guys. Once Gigi got healthy, that's enabled us to go to a little bit normal of the way we like to play, and I think that's helped us more than anything, is that now we're back doing the thing. And as you mentioned, and Tony, that was not a punishment. You know, it was just, we thought this would be best for our team, and he's handled it great. So now we got a scoring center coming off the bench. We got a guy like Gigi who can score. Prince is somebody who can always score a lot, and he did a great job in the Arizona State game, but those are 3 guys that can score if you don't guard them. So it's nice having a bench like that.
Does it open up the floor differently when Jonah's playing next to Tony instead of Tom, or is it kind of similar?
Well, it opens it up for our guards, because when you have 2 centers in there, then you have 2 other big bodies guarding them.
No, I mean when Jonah's playing next to Tony versus when Jonah's playing next to Thomas.
No, I don't think that matters, because I think they handle each other because they're both really good passing Jonah can pass it, Tom can pass it, probably better passers than what Tony is. But Tony gives us a low post presence. If we're picking and popping on one side of the floor, for instance with Jonah, then we've got a lifted big in Tom on that side. If Tony's in, Tony's probably going to be low. So it gives our offense a different look without us changing our offense much. And the guys are playing off of that well. And I think now that we're not so big, it's opening up driving lanes for like Prince and Isaac and Bryce and Aaron. It's not as clogged up as what it was maybe a month ago.
Do you take any lessons from last year, given that you played yourself, I think in February and beginning of March, into the tournament last year?
Well, we've talked to the vets about that, and not so much about the tournament. You know, we've got to know this team. We've gotten to know this team pretty well, and so we don't want to apply a pressure to this team. This team hadn't handled that particularly well, but we haven't been this team for very long, to be honest with you. It's the odd part, Zach, is that changing in really late January and playing totally different. That doesn't happen very often, but because of the nature of Gigi's injury, it's what we were kind of forced to do, because I think Alex is going to be terrific. Alex just isn't ready yet, but I think he's going to be terrific down the road. So changing midstream of how we're playing, not just offensively but defensively, has taken some time. Now we're about three weeks into that change, and guys are starting to get very comfortable with how we want to play. So it's not about putting pressure on that we have to win X number to do this, because you're never going to know that. You know, our RPI continues to get better, and if you look at our remaining games, you know, all of our remaining games, I think if you just look at it today, we've got 6 games left, and they're all top 80 RPI games. A lot of them are top 30 RPI games. I think we got 4 games left with teams in the top 30, 40 in the RPI. So winning will take care of that, and we needed to get, I wanted to get both of them. I thought we played well enough to get both of them, but to get the one in Arizona State, get another road win with just having 2 road games left, that was going to be pivotal. Now we got to take business home. The thing that we've been most discouraged about is we've lost 2 home games, because we don't do that, and we've lost 3 on the season, and that's not something we're accustomed to, nor do I like. So we've got to take care of this week, and we've got 2 really good teams coming in here, and both top 30 RPI teams. I think Utah's 17, Colorado's like 26, 27. So this is a big week for us. This is a pivotal week for us going into those last 2 weeks. But in long answer to you, we've really talked to our guys about, hey, get focused game to game, take care of it one game at a time. And if you do that, we get on a roll. Oregon last year. You know, Oregon was a team last year that I think put together, you know, 7, 8, 9 wins in a row late in the year, and they end up in the championship game of the Pac-12 tournament and playing as well as anybody in our league at the end of the year. That's kind of our drive. That's our focus, is can we be that team this year that puts a string of wins together and are playing our best basketball at the right time.
You said they haven't handled pressure awfully well. What do you mean by that?
Well, and that's been me. That's been me, not them. Anytime I've applied a little bit of that mental pressure, we haven't handled it well. So it's learning your team. Last year's team handled that really well. Now, Kevon Looney was a very tough, hard-nosed guy, and I had Norman Powell, a 4-year guy that got it. Bryce always responds to that very well. Isaac's responded to that very well. This is a different team, and we've kind of learned that as we've gone through it as coaches as well. It's a team that just hadn't handled that kind of mental pressure. So we've changed, whether it's been, you know, more encouragement, you know, more talking about short term than long term. This team seems to handle that kind of approach a lot better.